What is the greatest gift that you could give as a time traveler? Say you found yourself 50,000 years ago in what is now the south of France. Well, the cavemen that lived there may initially be put off by your cheetah print Speedo. What gift could you give them so that they'll technologically progress to the point where they can make their own cheetah print Speedos without killing a single cheetah? Which, as we all know, is the pinnacle of technology. The best gift, in my opinion, is language. Bonus points for written language. With the benefit of language, early humans will be able to store and spread ideas, as well as organize themselves and their technology as it progresses. With a little luck and a lot of time, they'll be able to develop the technology to synthesize a cheetah print Speedo, and they will have peaked as a species. It's all downhill from here. I've said it before on this channel, and I'll say it again. Jurassic Park is hands down my favorite movie, and if I had the money, I would spare no expense to make it happen in real life. But unfortunately, I don't have that kind of money. Also, it wouldn't work if you did it the same way they did in the movie. We simply cannot extract DNA preserved in mosquitoes, preserved in amber, and then create embryos from that, and then incubating said embryos in emu and ostrich eggs. It's just impossible. Flexes aside, why can't we do that? The biggest problem is that DNA has a half-life of 521 years. This means that DNA loses half of its information every 521 years, and that's in perfect storage conditions. The T-Rex went extinct about 66 million years ago, so any DNA left over would be negligible. If you were to substitute the missing DNA with frog DNA, well, you would get a frog. As the great and powerful philosopher Joe Rogan would say, chimps are so jacked, but they don't even know proper bodybuilding technique, so they could be even stronger. Chimps are crazy, but ones like Jumbo and his son Mongo, who both suffer from hereditary alopecia, allow us to see just how shredded chimps are. So what's their secret? Protein shakes? Creatine? DMT? Nope, chimpanzees are simply built different. Humans have roughly 70% slow twitch muscle fibers and 30% fast twitch ones, whereas chimps have nearly the opposite, with 33% slow twitch and about 66% fast twitch muscle fibers. This gives humans more endurance and fine motor control, and it gives chimpanzees more overall strength but less precision to control said strength. Basically, all or nothing. You can't beat a chimpanzee at an arm wrestling match, but you might have a shot in a marathon, assuming you could outrun it before it beat you to a pulp. You may think that flying on an airplane in a metal tube filled with strangers breathing each other's breath is unsanitary, and you'd be right. But airplanes are slightly more sanitary than you may think. The air you breathe on an airplane isn't canned air on a scuba tank somewhere on the plane. It comes from outside. An intake valve takes air out of the engines, cools it, filters it, and mixes it with the air already present in the airplane's cabin. In an Airbus A320, the cabin air is replaced about every 90 seconds. This varies from aircraft to aircraft, but is likely far faster than you may think. You can make diamonds. Well, you can't unless you have access to very expensive and precise equipment. It's a little bit harder to make than homemade rock candy. Diamonds are grown in a process known as chemical vapor distillation. A seed diamond, a small diamond, is put into a chamber where it is exposed to immense heat and pressure via a gas that contains carbon. The seed diamond provides a nucleation site for the carbon in the gas, and the diamond grows. The finished product is a diamond that is larger than the seed, that is cheaper, more ethical, more environmentally friendly, and has less impurities than naturally formed diamonds. Diamond cartels like De Beers don't appreciate lab-grown diamonds because they undercut their artificially inflated prices for diamonds. If you were on a long-distance space mission, possibly to Mars, what would you eat? Sure, you could grow some veggies in a hydroponic garden, but in space, oddly enough, there isn't much space. At least habitable space for humans and crops. Due to the high launch cost of putting anything into orbit, any space mission will be looking to save on weight wherever they can. One way to do that is to downsize the garden and the food stores. Having some fresh veggies and a treat once in a while will be good for morale, but the bulk of calories will come from algae. There is a type of algae called chlorella that is edible and quite healthy. It is actually sold as a supplement and believed by some to have sun healing properties. Chlorella would provide an excellent source of nutrition, calories, and oxygen, which you need to live. Before you go eating pond scum, don't do that because a lot of different types of algae are toxic to humans. A sphere is the most efficient way to organize matter. That's why bubbles, the sun, and the earth are all spherical. Spheres are also the strongest shape. But why are eggs not spherical? And furthermore, why are eggs egg-shaped in the first place? A chicken egg is an asymmetric tapered oval, and they're this shape so they don't roll in a straight line, they'll roll around in a little circle. This keeps eggs from rolling out of nests and breaking, killing the future baby bird. Another benefit of being egg-shaped is they can nest together well, radiating heat from one egg to another as opposed to the outside environment. Think of it like penguins huddling. This helps the egg's incubation and the development of the chicks, and it makes it easier for the mother to incubate her babies. What is the largest animal to ever have existed on Earth? Is it the elephant, the T-Rex, the megalodon? None of those are correct. What if I told you the largest animal to have ever existed on Earth, period, is alive and well today? That animal is the blue whale. The blue whale tips the scales, weighing up to 190 tons and measuring up to 110 feet in length, all while their main food source, krill, is only 1 to 2 centimeters long. Legend has it that long ago a cheesemaker in Roquefort, France, left a loaf of bread in a cave filled with cheese, as you do. When he came back later, he discovered that the bread had gone moldy, and it had transferred some of its mold into the cheese. So he ate the moldy cheese from the cave, as you do, and he liked it. He liked it so much that he deliberately transferred the mold to other cheeses. And that is the origin of blue cheese. Love or hate blue cheese, we do owe an immense debt of gratitude to all those who dared to try the mold or the strange mushroom or the random plant to see if it was delicious or deadly. It's commonly said that the human body has 206 bones. It's less commonly said that that is true only some of the time. When we are born, we have about 300 bones that eventually fuse into the 206 bones we know and love. Though in certain circumstances, that number's not always 206. Humans are complicated organisms, and sometimes complications happen in organisms. The sky is blue and the oceans are blue, but very few plants and animals are blue. You see, organisms get their color from pigment, which absorbs every color of the spectrum except the color that it appears to be. There are a few tricks that organisms use to appear blue. My favorite is in the case of butterflies. Blue morpho butterflies get their color structurally. Basically, the surface of the butterfly is covered in nanostructures that bend light around, causing all other waves to cancel out, reflecting only blue waves. So, in a weird way, blue kind of is a shape as well. Probe your mind and think with me for a moment. What point on Earth is the furthest from the center of the planet? If you're thinking Mount Everest, I thought that too. But both you and I are incorrect. The summit of Mount Everest is the highest point on Earth relative to sea level, but it is not the furthest from the center of the planet. How can this be? You see, from the Earth's rotation, the Earth is not a perfect sphere, it is an oblate spheroid, meaning the equator bulges out and is a bit further away from the center of the planet than other areas. Due to this, Chimborazo's summit is the furthest point from the Earth's center. This is located on a mountain in Ecuador, named Ecuador because it is on the equator. If you were to say, I don't know, fall in love with a bee that kinda sounded like Jerry Seinfeld, how would you communicate with it? Despite the complications of dating someone with a significant age difference, as bees only live 2 weeks to 6 years, well heck, that's almost as unsettling as a 38-year-old dating a 17-year-old. But that would never happen, right? Despite the many questions raised by dating a bee, how would someone in a relationship with a bee communicate with it? Bees communicate through the language of dance. In the case of bees, they do something called the waggle dance, which involves shaking one's ear in a figure-8 motion to show where nectar can be found, similar to many popular TikTok accounts. So yeah, a relationship with a bee is not going to work out very well.